And the number one story?
Number one.
He's been number one since he says he's in, Donald Trump. Donald Trump, welcome back to Kilmeade and Friends.
Hi, Brian.
How are you?
I'm good. I just watched you this morning.
You never sleep, so it does not surprise me that you're watching the morning shows.
No, I always watch you and Steve and Elizabeth. Great people. You're great people. You really are.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And we re-aired our Celebrity Stroll. You were the second one I ever did. Right. And we walked the streets, and you turned around and asked me, no one thinks I'm going to run. Do you think I'm going to run? And I'm very proud of myself. I said to you, I think you're going to run.
Well, you were one of the few, and you did say that, and it was something I remembered. But you
did you know
right
then? Did you know then that you were going to?
I announced actually.
Did you know when you were talking to me that you had run? And when did you actually make the decision?
Well, right about that time. I mean, you did that, and we had a lot of fun, and I heard you got really good ratings, and you were so thrilled, and you went for a big increase in your salary right after that. You called the great Roger Ailes immediately. But, right after that, right around that time, Brian, and frankly, it takes a lot of courage to run. I've always heard if you're a very successful person, you can't run for political office, especially for that office, right, the office of president. And I decided to do it, and I, just took a deep breath, and I did it, and the polls have been amazing, and the response has been amazing. And, last week I had 21,000 people in Dallas at the arena, Mark Cuban's place, and with the Mavericks play, and it was incredible. Then we had the week before 31,000 people in Alabama, Mobile, Alabama. And the crowds we get are just amazing. No matter where I go, the crowds are amazing.
And we saw it yesterday, too, over in New Hampshire. Now, while you were busy talking in front of the people in New Hampshire State, you are leading right now. Scott Walker was on with another talk show host, and he said this, cut 22.
Going in, we knew the narrative, no matter what was going to happen, was that they were going to say Carly had a big night no matter what, and obviously they said that.
Do you really feel that? Was that the buzz behind closed doors in the pregame and the breaks that Carly Fiorina was going to be made by CNN to be the winner?
Is that what Scott Walker said?
Yep.
Wow. I don't totally disagree. I think they wanted to have some kind of a narrative. They fed her softballs. I don't get that whole situation. They fed her softballs. Some of the things that she was asked were, ridiculous. Donald Trump said this, and she practically didn't have to even answer, and, et cetera, et cetera. So I could see some kind of something happening with respect to that, perhaps. I don't know. If Scott Walker says it, I have a lot of respect for him. I like him. Nice guy. He had a hard time. He's having a hard time. But he's certainly a man that knows what's going on, and that's an interesting statement that he makes.
Well, when you heard a lot of the buzz, the Snap polls and Time Magazine drudge, unscientific people, what do you think? And a lot of them are Republicans. They're saying, Donald Trump won by a wide margin. However,
by the way, every single poll that was taken, that I've seen anyway, Time, Drudge, Salon, Slate, every single poll that was taken said that I won. And I actually thought I did very well, and a lot of the people on television said I won, but then you had some that would say no, the same old ones that always speak negatively, including some people on Fox, by the way. But generally speaking, I think I did very well. And I was asked, 47% of the questions were to me, and all of the hits were to me. In other words, every negative question that they could ask, they'd say to somebody, what do you think? Donald Trump said this. What do you think? So I was... I know a lot of people were complaining they didn't get enough questions. I had every negative thing that they could possibly ask. It was asked to either me or somebody else, and I was expected to respond. So, I was honored when I said, and not only did I win in those polls, I won by landslides. You see that. You see the numbers, 50, 60, 70%. So I was very surprised because I didn't think Carly was spectacular at all.
And I thought, in foreign policy, she didn't impress you at all. Defending her record, she didn't convince you at all.
Well, she's got a line of pitter-patter that I've heard many times from her. She, always starts off by saying, the first thing I do is call my dear friend Bibi Netanyahu of Israel. I've heard that so many times. And she said it the other night, too. The same exact words, ba, 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 like a robot. and everybody said, "Oh, isn't that wonderful?" But if you've heard her a number of times, it's like, in fact, somebody accused her the other day of being robotic. I think she's very robotic. I also think that she ran Hewlett-Packard into the ground. She destroyed the company. The other day, they laid off 30,000 people. They're still suffering the effects of her reign. And she destroyed Lucent before her. So Lucent was destroyed. Hewlett-Packard was destroyed. And people don't even mention that. They don't want to mention it. So I think that she was very protected, absolutely. I think Scott Walker's probably, at least to an extent, correct.
So you have fun on The Tonight Show. You went in there, you looked in the mirror, and it was Jimmy Fallon. And It was a parody of you with you there. Are you okay with that?
Well, I am. I mean, Jimmy called me, and he said, "Do you think we could do this?" I said, "Absolutely." It was fun. And it went all over the world. I mean, it was picked up by everybody, where he basically, looked like me. He did the whole thing, right? And we had a good time. It was great. It was showbiz, but he's a terrific guy. And he asked, "Do you think we could do this?" So we rehearsed for about 2 minutes, and we knocked it out the first time. There were no retakes, and we had a little fun with it at the Tonight Show the other night.
Here's Larry Wilmore. He replaced Stephen Colbert in Late Night, Cut 13. He watched the debate, obviously.
He's got like a resting smug face, doesn't he? It's like he's even thinking everybody's a loser. You can freeze frame almost any image and he has that look on his face. You know who he reminds me of? Losers! The Allied powers are losers. Okay, look, for everybody out there who's saying, "Larry, are you really comparing Trump to Mussolini?" Yes, that's exactly what I just did.
Is that funny to you?
Well, I haven't seen it, but I guess, he's trying to do his thing. Did he take, is he the replacement for Jon Stewart, I guess?
Yeah, well, he's the replacement for Stephen Colbert, and he thought it would be funny if he compared you to Mussolini, a fascist dictator.
Yeah, they have to do what they have to do. Brian, you learn to live with things, and they have to just do. I hope people enjoy watching it. But in the meantime, I'm doing really well. I'm running very hard. I'm all over the place. And frankly, it's been amazing. The response has been amazing. Just like you mentioned Jimmy Fallon, it was his best ratings in almost 2 years, the show he did with me. So that's a good thing. It means people want to watch.
Right.
And, the two debates, your debate at 24 million and CNN, it was the biggest number in the history of CNN, according to what I've heard from them. And they know where those numbers come from. Let me ask you a question. So they had 24 million at Fox, 23 million at CNN. If I weren't in the debate, how many people would have been watching?
We were just discussing that, and I think it would probably be maybe 6,
I would say 2 million.
2 to 6.
So you had 24 million, and I would say they would have had 2 million. So I picked up 22 million people, and frankly, you know what that is? There's something going on. People want to see good things happen for this country. But I think that would be about the number. CNN said, well, maybe a little bit more. I said, oh, great.
I want you to
anyway,
hear,
but it was
right.
I really enjoyed the evening. The mistake they made, but they didn't make a commercial mistake, because what they did is they just sucked the blood out of it, and it was terrible in one sense. Having a 3-hour debate, and I don't mean from a physical standpoint, because I wasn't even tired at the end, but having a 3-hour debate for people to watch for 3 hours, I think was atrocious. Also, the room was extremely hot for everybody sitting there and for the people standing. Marco Rubio, I've never seen anybody sweat like that, and a lot of these guys are serious sweaters, frankly. But it was extremely hot in the room and extremely uncomfortable. And to have that debate go on for 3, and what happened? It was 2 hours. It was 2 hours, as you know, until a couple of days before, and then all of a sudden, without our knowledge, it was increased to 3, because you know why? Because they sold out all their commercials. This has nothing to do with politics and the good of the country. They sold out all their commercials, and they figure we'll make another $10 million.
So one thing that did come up in the debate is this thing about casino gambling and Bush and lobbying, and the CNN
I never asked him. Hey, Brian, I never spoke to him. I don't think I ever spoke to him while he was in office. I had a fundraiser for him that his father asked me to do for him, but I never called him and asked if I wanted something badly. It doesn't matter. I do deals all over the world.
The CNN says that CNN says you gave him $50,000. That's their investigation at a $500 person fundraiser for him.
I don't know what the amount was, but they had a certain amount of money that was raised from years ago when he was first starting to run. And I did it at, I believe it was the invite of his father. His father asked me if I'd do it, and I said yes. And it was very nice. It was in my apartment. I remember it. And he was nice. The father is a very nice person, as you know, as everybody understands. But I never called Bush and asked him. I mean, the question was, by the way, did I ever call him? If I thought if something was important, I would have called. And then right after that, when he got out of office, the new governor, Charlie Crist, I believe it was, approved casino gambling. And I actually did very well because casino gambling was approved, because I made a settlement and was paid a lot of money. One of my companies was paid a lot of money. But
Gotcha.
But here's the thing. I never asked him, and I don't even know. I'm not sure I ever even spoke to him while he was governor. So there's a guy raises money for a candidate and doesn't even ask for anything. But I never called him and asked him to approve casino gambling.
So I got to bring you to this. Lloyd Austin, who's heading our operations over in Iraq, who's supposed to be taking down ISIS, his hands seem to be tied. But this is astounding. For $40 million, this is what we got.
Can you tell us what the total number of trained fighters remains?
It's a small number, and the ones that are in the fight is we're talking four or five.
So we're counting on our fingers and toes.
Yeah,
at this
4
point.
or 5. That's his answer, Senator McCaskill.
Unbelievable. No, it's so sad. And so sad. And I actually heard on another report this morning that the number's not 40 million, it's 50 million for a few fighters. And that's the way the country's run. And then they wonder about deficits. Why do we have deficits? And why do we lose $350 billion a year in trade deficits with China? And why do we lose $50 billion a year with Mexico, trade deficits? I mean, all these things can be solved if I get elected.
Right.
Now, if
real
put
quick,
somebody else in there, it's not going to happen.
Donald, real quick, are you going to meet with Vladimir Putin? Have you already made overtures there? I know you've dealt with him before.
Well, somebody said that he's going to see me. He would like to see me, and if he would like to, I have no idea, but if he would like to, certainly I'm available. But somebody said that he would like to see me. I heard that last night for the first time. I have no idea. I don't know. I really don't know, but I had heard that. And I guess he's coming here for some reason, and we'll see. I mean, you will certainly be the first to know, Brian.
Thank you, Donald Trump. But my last question is: would you be tough with him? Would you just be all ears with him? Would you?
Well, I wouldn't be anything. I'd just get along with him. I've gotten along. They talk about temperament. I have the greatest temperament of the world. I get along with so many people. Look at the countries today. We don't get along with anybody, Brian. The whole world hates us. And I get along with people. I will get along so well. I deal internationally. I've made a lot of money internationally, and it's called. So I wouldn't deal with him anyway. I would just probably get along with him, and it's possibly I won't, but probably I would. And we'll see what happens. I have no idea whether or not we're going to meet.
But you would meet if he asks.
Oh, sure I would. Of course I would. It would be, my honor. It would be very good to me. It's a positive thing to do, not a negative thing.
All right. Donald Trump, thanks so much for your time. I know you're going to Iowa tomorrow, correct?
I am. I'm going to Iowa, and that's been an amazing place. I'm leading the polls in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, everywhere. I think everywhere, and nationally. So we're making an impact, and it's been a long way since we walked down Fifth Avenue together when you were curious as to whether or not I was going, right?
I think it's safe to say you're in. And you're right. Currently, you're the top guy. Donald Trump, thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
All
Great
right.
honor.
Back in a moment.
It's Kilmeade and Friends on Fox News Talk.